Welcome to Book Buzz Reviews and Summaries. The battlefield does not care who you are. It does not pause for your excuses. It demands everything from you: discipline, clarity, humility, and above all, ownership, total, absolute, unrelenting ownership. In the darkness of night, under enemy fire in the deadly streets of Ramadi, leadership is not a theory. It's not a motivational slogan, a corporate buzzword, or a well-polished presentation in a climate-controlled boardroom. It is life or death. It is action. It is decisions made under pressure so intense that hesitation can kill. And it is responsibility, radical, uncompromising responsibility for everything in your world. No matter the circumstances, no matter who is at fault, this book is not about war. It is about the war within. It's about the battles every leader faces, on the front lines of business, in the chaos of the home, in the quiet moments of doubt when blame whispers and ego rises. It is about stripping away excuses, dismantling blame, and looking in the mirror to ask the most terrifying and liberating question a leader can ask: what if this is my fault? Extreme ownership is not a suggestion. It is a way of life. It is the path to true leadership, forged in the crucible of combat, proven in the fire of failure, and sharpened by the relentless pursuit of excellence. This book is a wake-up call, a battle cry for those who refuse to be victims of circumstance and instead choose to lead with clarity, decisiveness, and unwavering accountability. If you are tired of waiting for someone else to take charge, if you're done with excuses, if you're ready to win, not just on the battlefield or in business, but in life, then turn the page. The time for blaming others is over. The time for ownership begins now. Part 1. The Foundation of Extreme Ownership. Chapters 1 to 3. Ownership, Ego, and Clarity in Chaos. Chapter 1. Extreme Ownership. There are no bad teams, only bad leaders. Imagine leading a Navy SEAL unit in the most dangerous city in Iraq, Ramadi. Gunfire echoes, chaos reigns, and split-second decisions mean the difference between life and death. In this very setting, Jocko Willink recounts a friendly fire incident that could have destroyed not only a mission, but the trust and morale of his team. Instead of passing blame to the individuals involved, who failed in communication and protocol, Jocko did something radical. He took full responsibility. This is the cornerstone of the book. Extreme ownership. As a leader, everything that goes wrong is your fault. No excuses, no finger-pointing. It sounds intense, even unfair, but the authors argue that this radical accountability is what separates good from great leaders, whether in war, business, or life. Hook. At the core of this principle is empowerment. If you're responsible for everything, then you also hold the power to fix anything, but can your ego handle it? Chapter 2. No bad teams, only bad leaders. It's not what you preach, it's what you tolerate. This chapter shifts to a gripping SEAL training story. A boat crew keeps finishing last in every race. The crew is demoralized, tired, and convinced that they're just unlucky. The instructors make a single change, swapping out the team leader. Suddenly, the same crew starts dominating every race. What changed? Not the gear, not the crew, the leadership. This chapter hammers in the idea that culture, attitude, and outcomes flow from the leader. Teams reflect the mindset and standards of the person in charge. A high-performing team doesn't just work harder. They believe they can win because their leader does. Whether you're leading a startup, a sales team, or even your household, this message lands with force. Leadership drives performance. Cliffhanger. But what if the problem isn't your team or even your leadership, but something hidden deep inside you? Chapter 3. Believe. In order to convince and inspire others to follow and accomplish a mission, a leader must be a true believer in the mission. In combat, hesitation can cost lives. That's why leaders must believe in the mission fully. If you're unsure, your team will sniff it out immediately if you hesitate. So will they. Willink and Babin recount missions where morale was shaky and teams felt disconnected from their objectives. The only way they brought the team back into alignment was by ensuring they, as leaders, were absolutely convinced of the mission's importance. Belief is contagious, doubt is too, and belief isn't just about being enthusiastic. It's about doing the hard mental work to understand why something matters. Only then can you communicate that purpose and bring others along. This becomes especially relevant in the business examples the authors weave in: CEOs trying to drive innovation, managers selling unpopular decisions, employees resisting change. Mini lesson: if you're struggling to lead people toward a goal, ask yourself, do I fully believe in this direction? Have I explained the why clearly enough? Cliffhanger: and what happens when the battlefield becomes pure chaos, when everything is going wrong at once? Part 2. Leading through the fog of war. Chapters 4 to 6. Prioritize, execute, and empower. Chapter 4. Check the ego. Ego clouds and disrupts everything. Let's head back into the dust-choked streets of Ramadi. Picture two SEAL units, each led by strong personalities, but tension brews. One team ignores the input of another. The mission nearly derails. Again, why? Ego. This chapter is a brutal mirror. Ego makes us defensive, blinds us to feedback, and turns allies into rivals. Willink admits his own ego has cost him relationships, efficiency, and clarity, even on the battlefield. Lesson: to lead well, you must keep your ego in check, always. Because when ego runs your team, pride replaces purpose, and you'll start caring more about being right than being effective. Hook. But what happens when everything goes wrong at once? When chaos reigns and you can't see a clear next step? Chapter 5. Cover and move. It's not about you, it's not about your department, it's about the mission. Here's a combat tactic that doubles as a life lesson. In battle, one team moves while the other provides cover fire. Then they switch. This is cover and move. It's the essence of teamwork, mutual support, and synchronized effort. In business and life, this means breaking down silos. Departments aren't competitors. They're interdependent fire teams. When one team fails, everyone fails. But when they move together, even under pressure, progress happens. One example: in a manufacturing company, a lack of communication between sales and operations caused inventory delays and client frustration. The fix wasn't a flashy new system. It was leaders forcing the teams to work together, intentionally. Takeaway: if you're not helping another team succeed, you're hurting your own mission. Cover and move. Cliffhanger: but what do you do when everything starts falling apart all at once, and decisions are coming faster than your brain can handle? Chapter 6. Simple. Complexity breeds confusion. Confusion breeds hesitation, and hesitation breeds disaster. In high-stakes combat, complexity kills. If a plan isn't simple and clear, people will misinterpret it. And in war, that could mean lives lost. So what's the principle? Keep it simple, strip the fluff, clarify roles, repeat objectives until everyone gets it. If someone doesn't understand the plan, it's the leader's fault. Willink recalls a mission where a complex entry plan confused even experienced SEALs. He scrapped it and started over. Simple, repeatable steps. The mission succeeded because every man knew exactly what to do. In business, this looks like confusing strategies over long memos, vague goals. If your team doesn't get it, you didn't explain it well enough. Takeaway: complexity is the enemy of execution. Make it so clear that your plan could survive a crisis. Cliffhanger: now the stage is set, the mission is clear, but what happens when you're in the fire and you can't do it all at once? Chapter 7. Prioritize and execute. Relax, look around, make a call. A rooftop gunfight. Bullets flying, a wounded ally below, enemies swarming from multiple directions. It's the nightmare every SEAL trains for, and in this moment, the only way out is discipline and decision-making under pressure. Jocko's mantra kicks in: prioritize and execute. Not everything can be done at once, but the most important thing can. This principle is pure leadership gold. Whether in war or at work, leaders must calmly assess the chaos, identify the top priority, execute on it, then move to the next. A business example highlights a startup overwhelmed with product bugs, customer complaints, and cash flow issues. The CEO froze, but when he followed this mantra, he solved each problem one at a time and survived. Key point: in crisis, leaders who panic or try to multitask crash. Leaders who breathe, focus, and act survive. Cliffhanger: but what if your team doesn't agree on the mission at all? What if they're not aligned? And your authority is questioned. Part 3. Empowering leadership without losing control. Chapter 8. Decentralized command. Everyone leads. Here's the truth. No matter how talented, one leader cannot micromanage a complex mission and expect to win. That's why SEAL teams train everyone to lead. In high-stakes ops, decisions happen on the ground, often away from senior leadership. This principle is called decentralized command. Push authority down to the lowest capable level. One mission in Ramadi saw junior SEALs making snap decisions while separated from leadership because they were empowered and trained to lead. The mission succeeded without the commander giving a single direct order in real time. In business, this means your frontline employees must know the mission and feel trusted to act. You want to build leaders at every level, not just decision followers. Willink's rule of thumb: a leader should never manage more than 6 to 10 people directly. Otherwise, clarity and control begin to suffer. Delegate, empower, repeat the mission often. Takeaway: you don't win by controlling everything. You win by building others who can lead when you're not there. Cliffhanger. But how do you ensure that every leader at every level is charging in the same direction? Chapter 9. Plan. A good plan today is better than a perfect plan tomorrow. Combat operations hinge on tight, deliberate planning. But plans also have to be simple, flexible, and understood by everyone. Over-planning leads to paralysis. Under-planning leads to disaster. Jocko recalls preparing a multi-team operation with layers of coordination: snipers, support units, entry teams. Success came not from genius, but from how clearly and repetitively the plan was communicated. Every unit leader knew exactly what to do and what to do if things went wrong. The key here: frontline buy-in. The people executing the plan must believe in it and understand why, otherwise they'll improvise or worse, freeze. In business, that means looping in your team during planning. Don't dictate, collaborate. Your team is more likely to execute well if they've had a hand in building the strategy. Jocko's tip: if your people don't understand the plan, it's not their fault, it's yours. Cliffhanger. You've delegated, aligned, and planned, but what happens when plans collide? When missions shift and leaders face impossible trade-offs? Chapter 10. Leading up and down the chain of command. To be a good leader, you must also be a good follower. This chapter flips leadership on its head. SEALs operate in a chain of command, but leadership flows up and down. If your boss isn't giving you what you need, you are responsible for communicating better. If your subordinates are unclear or underperforming, you must train and guide them better. There's no room for blaming those above or those below. You must lead in all directions. One case study tells of a platoon leader who felt ignored by higher command. Instead of complaining, he took ownership, clarified needs, rephrased requests, aligned with strategic goals, and got results. In civilian life, this means if your manager doesn't get it, explain the situation better. If your team's not motivated, listen more and coach smarter. If you're stuck in the middle, become the translator, the bridge. Takeaway: leaders don't just give orders. They build clarity, alignment, and trust up and down the ladder. Cliffhanger. But now comes the trickiest part of leadership. Not war, not ego, not decision-making, but balance. Chapter 11. Decisiveness and uncertainty. Waiting for perfect clarity is a delay that kills. In combat, waiting for total certainty is a mistake you don't walk away from. Decisions must be made fast, with the best available info. Indecision kills momentum, builds confusion, and creates leadership vacuums. But here's the nuance: rashness is just as deadly. This chapter explores the razor's edge: how to be decisive without being reckless. Willink describes missions where delays would have meant ambush, and others where acting too fast would have jeopardized lives. The answer: training, preparation, and clarity of mission allow you to trust your gut when it matters. In business or life, don't stall waiting for the stars to align. Learn to pull the trigger when it's good enough, and adjust as you go. Key idea: the battlefield and life never gives 100% certainty. Move anyway. Part 4. Balance, discipline, and winning the long game. Chapter 12. Discipline equals freedom, the dichotomy of leadership. The more you discipline yourself, the more freedom you gain. This may sound contradictory, but in the world of Navy SEALs and high-level life success, discipline is the key to true freedom. Here's what Jocko means. Discipline isn't about restriction, it's about control over chaos. When a leader sets clear routines, standards, and systems, the result is more agility, not less. SEALs train rigorously not to be rigid, but to be ready, to react and adapt because they're so well prepared. A disciplined platoon can improvise without falling apart. A disciplined business team can pivot in crisis without collapsing. A disciplined person can say yes to opportunities because they've already said no to excuses. Example, if you wake up early by habit, you have the freedom to work out, read, or plan, but if you sleep in randomly, your day owns you. The second key to this chapter is the dichotomy of leadership. This is where the real challenge lies. Leadership is a balancing act between extremes, and leaning too far in either direction can kill your credibility and effectiveness. To lead effectively, you must constantly assess, am I leaning too far one way? The mark of a masterful leader isn't just action, it's awareness. It's knowing how to hold two opposing truths at once and walk that line every day. Takeaway: the best leaders are not just doers. They are balanced, disciplined thinkers who stay flexible without losing control. Conclusion: the power of ownership in the real world. As the final pages of Extreme Ownership close, Willink and Babin reinforce the central message. Leadership is everything, and great leadership begins with you. Whether you're leading a SEAL team in a war zone, managing a startup, teaching in a classroom, or running your family, the same rule applies. Extreme ownership means you own everything in your world. There's no one else to blame. If the mission failed, own it. If the team didn't perform, own it. If the outcome wasn't what you wanted, own it. Learn from it and fix it. The book ends not with bravado, but with humility. Leadership is a daily discipline. You won't always get it right, but the moment you take ownership, you take back your power and your ability to lead, win, and grow. Top 3 takeaways from Extreme Ownership. 1. Own everything. No excuses, no blaming. If you take full ownership, you can change anything. 2. Lead at every level. Push authority down. Build trust up. Communicate across. 3. Balance is everything. Leadership is never one size fits all. The magic is in mastering the middle. Reflection questions. 1. Where in your life are you not taking full ownership, and what's it costing you? 2. Are you trying to lead without empowering others? 3. What's one extreme you may be leaning into too heavily? Discipline, detachment, control. Read the book to learn more. Thanks for listening to Book Buzz reviews and summaries.